Hi everybody, how you doing? Doing this during vacation. It's a pretty quiet building today. You won't be hearing any announcements, no issues, anything like that. Hope you had a good vacation. We're doing 5.4. It's our last topic before our test, which is going to be coming up soon. Absolute value inequalities. Let's talk first about what we did back in October. This is number 1 on your notes sheet. Absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to 11. In October, I told you that my Halloween costume, I was absolute value, positive, even when I was negative. So inside here, it's either the value is either positive 11 or negative 11 inside here. And to solve that, you need to make two equations. X plus 2 equals 11, x plus 2 equals negative 11. Solve it. X equals 9 or minus 2, x equals negative 13. Okay, those were what we did back in October. When you have absolute value, we're going to set up two equations because it's either positive or negative inside. The other one that we talk about is something like this. 2x minus 1, the absolute value of that equals negative 5. And the answer to that as a review was no solution. And the reason why it's no solution is because an absolute value cannot equal a negative. The rule is positive even when it's negative. This is not positive. It's negative. So we cannot have an absolute value be a negative. Okay, let's do some of the new stuff there. Talks about solve and graph the inequalities. I'm going to share with you kind of the specifics, but they're really very similar to what I just did. Number 3. Absolute value of x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 11. So, when it was an equal sign right here, what we did was make two equations. Guess what? We're going to make two equations again. X plus 2 is greater than 11. That's the one we're given right there. X plus 2. Change the sign. You need to change the sign. It's less than negative 11. Change this. Change the sign. So I can't stress enough, this is kind of the important piece here. Change that. Change the sign there. Make a note of it in your notes, put a star there. That's going to be the procedure every single time. So then we just solve like we would normally solve. X is greater than or equal to 9. Minus 2, minus 2. X is less than or equal to negative 13. I'm big into graphing. Some of you guys are going to get Mr. Guile at some point soon in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, maybe Geometry. You got to be able to graph. Mr. Guile loves graphing, but it's an important skill. X is greater than or equal to 9. We know that. Fill that in and go that way. Less than or equal to negative 13. Close circle and that way. And that is our graph. That's what we were doing for compound inequalities in 5.3. Example number 4. Absolute value of x minus 1 is less than negative 6. A lot of times what students will start doing, start solving it right away. And then recognize that this is a negative, and your answer is NS, no solution. And that reminds me, Up at the top on number 2, I did not do the fill in the blanks for number 2. So maybe if we can go back up to number 2, we had to fill in the blanks where there are stars. It says, there is no solution. That's what you can fill in. There's no solution because absolute value can't equal a negative. So what I'd like you to do on your notes for number 2 is to fill that in right there. And we're down to 2 problems left. Okay, so there's a bell. There won't be any announcements though. And you can't go to lunch. Number 5. (3x plus 6 greater than 12). Okay, same as we've always done. 3x plus 6 is greater than 12. 3x plus 6 is less than negative 12. Change the sign, change the sign. That's what we have to be able to do. Solve it. It's a 2-step equation. Now it's just like what we did in 5.3. So we get x is greater than 2. Minus 6, minus 6. 3x, negative 18. Divide by 3, divide by 3. X is less than negative 6. Okay? Not going to give up on graphing. I like the graphing so that we're good on that. X is greater than 2. Open circle, greater than 2. Open circle here, less than negative 6. Okay? One more left and we'll be done. Okay, let's do number 6. And I want you to follow along with number 6. There's some important information that I want to make sure you get. Because number 6 is a good teaching problem for some things we have going on. For number 6, x over negative 2 plus 1 is less than or equal to 8. Don't get intimidated by the divided bys here. We know what to do in those situations. X over negative 2 plus 1 is less than or equal to 8. Rewrite the problem. X over negative 2 plus 1 is greater than or equal to negative 8. Change the sign, right? Minus 1, x over negative 2 is less than or equal to 7. Multiply both sides by negative 2. What do we do? Remember this from 5.2. Before vacation. When you multiply or divide by a negative, we've got to change the sign again. So, x is greater than or equal to negative 14. Because we're multiplying by negative 2 to both sides, we have to change the sign. Minus 1, x over negative 2 greater than or equal to negative 9. Multiply both sides by negative 2. Still got a little time. X, change the sign. Positive 18, right? Now, graph. Less than or equal to, going this way, negative 14, greater than. The answer is going to be what's in between. All right? Let's keep working on these. Keep going.